Hello, and welcome to today's Clarity Reset. Today we are going to talk about the end, and that sounds really damning, but it's not. It's the end of something in our business, right? Most of us have something in our business that's finished, but it's not like formally closed. It's like an offer that we stop promoting, or maybe an approach that we just kind of quietly abandoned, but never really named it as done. Maybe it's a chapter that ended somewhere in the middle of everything else without ever fully being acknowledged. So today we're going to close one of those things properly on paper with intention and with a clear sense of what might come next. So I invite you to first ground with me for the next few minutes. Please close your eyes or soften your gaze so that you're not focusing on anything in particular. Get comfortable in your chair, your seat, whatever you're sitting in, and start to pay attention to your breath as it moves in your body and back out of your body. We're going to take a few breaths together. So, a deep breath in through your nose, hold it, and out through your mouth. In through your nose, hold it, and out through your mouth. In through your nose and out through your mouth. Now just take a quick appraisal of your body. Are there any areas that you're feeling a lot of tension or tightness? Maybe somewhere where you're holding stress. That could be in your chest. Sometimes there could be a tightness, or in your lower back, even. You have some tension somewhere in your lower back, or like a cramp somewhere that just shows up when you're feeling maybe extra stressed, or you've got a lot of, you know, anxiety happening, or maybe there's there's something that you're working on that you're not quite comfortable with, and you might notice it show up somewhere in your body. We hold on to things in our bodies, in our muscles, in our nervous systems, and sometimes they get stuck there. And so I like to bring our attention to that sometimes, just so that we're aware. We don't necessarily have to change it, but just so that we're aware. And now, anything that you did notice, maybe you noticed a tension in your neck or your shoulders, roll your shoulders around, move your neck a little bit. Maybe do try to like quiet whatever that tension might be, or that cramp, or that whatever it is, that feeling in your body. Maybe that means stretching a little bit, make it move. And now I want you to think about today. Is there any particular energy today that feels like something is completing, or something is finishing? Or maybe it's like a threshold where you're kind of finishing something and moving into the next. See if you can feel that energy. If you notice it in your day, or just in general how you're feeling. You don't necessarily have to name it yet, just feel it. And I invite you to, on your own, take a deep, slow breath in and out. And when you breathe out, let it go. And we'll take a few more breaths together. So a deep breath in through your nose, out through your mouth. And as you breathe out, imagine you're just breathing that thing out, letting go of whatever it feels like is ending or coming to some sort of conclusion. And again, deep breath in through your nose and let it go. In through your nose and let it go. Let your breathing return to normal. Now I invite you to come back, open your eyes, and open your journal. The first thing that I want you to do is brain dump. So, whatever is on your mind, just write down. This is not a question you're answering. This doesn't necessarily have to do with the grounding exercise we just did. It could just be a random word that just popped in your head. Write it down and just keep writing for the next minute and a half or so. Whatever nonsense comes to mind. Like again, it doesn't have to make sense, not a complete thought, not a complete sentence. Just write the words that are popping into your head. We do this before we get into the questions and the prompts so that the incomplete thoughts that are just kind of floating around, or when our mind is racing and there are so many things there, we really want to shed some of that before we start to journal intentionally, because otherwise that's the stuff that ends up on the page at first. So just get it out of the way now. We got a little under a minute left. Just keep writing. The point of this is to not stop writing for this whole time. So anything that you're feeling, anything that you're thinking, anything nonsensical, whatever it is, just put it on the paper. Got about 20 seconds left, so keep going. Keep going. Get some of those last thoughts out. And all right, we're going to move to our first question. What in your business is finished but has not formally closed? And I want you to think broadly about this. This could be an offer that you were putting out there that you stopped promoting, but you never really officially retired. It's just kind of floating around out there. It could be a strategy that you abandoned. Maybe something that you were working on that a path that you were on that isn't making sense anymore. It could be a relationship or maybe a collaboration that ended without really being talked about. And it could also be just a version of yourself or a version of your business that you've outgrown, but you haven't really officially named as done. Maybe even a goal that no longer belongs where you're heading. So that's the sort of thing we're going to work on here. What is sitting in that finished pile that hasn't really been given a proper ending, you know? And really look at this. I'm going to give you some time to look into this. It might be the first thing that comes to mind, it might not be. Maybe Maybe make a short list if you've got a few things come into mind. Make a list about it. It's okay to have more than one of these things. And you have a few more minutes left to work on this. So, maybe something will come to you in the next minute or so that you hadn't thought about. You can write it all down. That's what we're here for. Okay, so keep going. We still have a minute and a half left on this question. So, again, what in your business is finished but has not formally closed? So, again, we can talk about an offer you stopped promoting, a strategy that you're not really working on anymore, a relationship or a collaboration, um, a version of yourself or your business. That's my favorite of these. Maybe you've outgrown it, but you haven't named it as done yet. A goal that you no longer are pursuing, or it doesn't really belong in your future anymore. Just you're naming whatever is sitting in that finished pile that hasn't been given a proper ending. Okay, start wrapping it up. Okay, so the next question is this: why has this thing stayed technically open? Why has this thing stayed technically open? And what I mean by that is like, you know, why hasn't it been addressed? Why is it kind of sitting in that unfinished pile when it's probably ready to be finished? Is there a fear that closing it means admitting something? Maybe there's a hope that it might still become what you originally wanted it to be. Maybe there's some discomfort in naming a thing as done when it didn't end the way you planned. Whatever it is, be real honest about why without defending it. Why has this thing stayed technically open? You have a few minutes to work on this one. So be detailed. Be real about it too. Be real with yourself about why. Even if you don't like how it sounds, even if you don't like the answer, be real with yourself about why this thing has stayed open longer than it probably needs to. And be detailed. Again, dive into the why. Not just one sentence. Maybe it didn't end the way you wanted it to. Keep going. How did it end? How what did you hope would happen that didn't happen? That information is important here. just to see it, just to acknowledge it, and to have some true closure around it. So be detailed, keep going, keep writing. And you can even take this a step further and, you know, get into the why. Like, why didn't it give you what you wanted? Or why did you leave it open for so long? And then why about that why, if that makes sense. Um, if it's about fear of closing something, maybe it's fear of like letting go of the thing. Why? Why is there a fear there? Dig deep. I'm going to give you another couple of minutes to finish that up. This is a really important piece of today is naming the honest reason why this thing has stayed open beyond its expiration date. We got about a minute left. So start wrapping it up. Again, what is the honest reason why this thing has stayed technically open? Okay. Now, name the thing clearly. All right. So, when I say that, I mean acknowledge what it was, what it gave you, what it cost you, and why it's done. So, again, you want to acknowledge what it was, what it gave you, what it cost you, and why it's done. And I'll remind you of those um, over the next few minutes while we're working on this one. Write it write it as if you're closing a chapter in a book, knowing that the story continues, just that this particular thread of it isn't part of it anymore. So again, you want to acknowledge what it was, what it gave you, what it cost you, and why it's done. Okay, so again, you want to explain what it was, what it gave you, what it cost you, and why it's done. Okay, so again, keep going. We want to formally close this thing. So name the thing clearly, acknowledge what it was, what it gave you, what it cost you, and why it's done. Kind of like you're closing a chapter in a book. And even though the story is going to continue, this isn't going to be part of it. So, what it was, what it gave you, what it cost you, and why it's done. Okay, start wrapping it up. What it was, what it gave you, what it cost you, and why it's done. Last few moments to finish that up. Okay. And finally, what this makes room for is blank. And write that whole sentence. Don't just write the answer. There's some magical thing that happens when you actually write the whole sentence out with any intention, really. What this makes room for is blank. Finish that sentence. Okay. So while you're wrapping that up, something I want to say is that just, sometimes things end or maybe we stop doing things and it's not like some dramatic end, they just get, it's good to just give those things some of the acknowledgement that they were waiting for, and do like a solid release of whatever that is. Let go of it, you know? And so it's good to go back, really name not only what it is, but like how did it help? How what did it cost you to keep on with that thing? And derive some learning out of it so that the next thing, whatever it is, whether it's your offer, whether it's a partnership or a collaboration, whatever it is, there was something that came of it, that was helpful or that was, useful or that was at least a learning experience. And so before we just kind of let those things, you know, fall into the abyss of the past, it's always good to reflect. So, Rebecca, you're welcome to share with us how that worked out for you. You don't have to, though, but you are totally welcome to. And if not, then we are going to wrap this up. Um, and this will be available on in my school community. It will also be available on YouTube. I'm not sure which one you're watching, whoever is watching in the future, but feel free to check out the other space, check out my YouTube, or come join the community. We're doing a lot of work like this, all the time. Every day I do one of these in the community. So I wish you all the best day ever, Rebecca. I hope you have an awesome day. And yeah, bye.